What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the MG YouTube channel. I'm Malachi Greb, CEO of Elite Automation, Elite Properties, investor in Tesla. Today we're just taking a ride in FSD in the Model Y Juniper, and we're on version 14.2.2.2. And really, like, the thing that I just wanted to bring up is just like how much better FSD's gotten. It's just, originally people like were using the buzzword, sentient, and there's definitely some truth to that. Like, and the sentient part of it is that it makes decisions and it flows in such a way that's so human-like. Like, I pulled into a driveway yesterday, and it was like a pretty complex driveway. Like, the driveway went back to their garage, and it also split off and went to the front of their house. And then whenever it split off and went to the front of their house, there was like a part of the driveway that was right in front of their house, and there was another part of the driveway where you were parked perpendicular to the other driving plate or parking spots. And it literally just like pulled to the right instead of going back down to their garage. And not only did it do that, but it went to the perpendicular spot and then reversed back in to one of the spots that's directly in front of the house. And I was just kind of blown away because, like, whenever I pulled into the driveway, I didn't know exactly where I needed to go at in the driveway, where the proper place to park was in the driveway. And it just did it. And I was just like really baffled on like how well it did. And there's just like a lot of things where it's like flowing. Oh man, chill, bro. We gotta. I'm just really baffled by how well it did. And honestly, from like what I experienced, and I'm about to have a little bit more free time to start driving with FSD again. I've been pretty busy with Elite Properties and been pretty tied up with property renovations and getting properties listed and all that good stuff. So I haven't been, really testing FSD too much other than like my daily commutes. But either probably after today or tomorrow or something like that, I should be having more freedom to start doing more testing and whatnot. But just from what I've experienced from my daily commutes, I mean, it's just gotten so much better. It's so much quicker, or not so much quicker, but it's responds to things in such a more human-like manner, as far as like going around vehicles, as far as like, pulling over for police cars, and don't get me wrong, like, it's not 101% solved in that aspect. There are still some bugs, but and I haven't personally seen this, but my wife basically reported that, like, sometimes when you pass a cop car that has somebody pulled over, it'll get in the left lane like it's supposed to get away from that pulled over vehicle, and then after it passes them, it'll think that the cop is pulling the Tesla over, and it'll go over and it'll pull over to the side of the road. Not that it's doing that all the time, but she has seen it try to do that, which I thought was pretty funny anyway. But those are like really a minute thing. Like, it may have even pulled over, stopped, and then started going again when it realized, like, oh, I'm not being pulled over, somebody else is being pulled over. So things like that, I test them. I let them ride out to the end. I'll let the vehicle pull over to the side of the road, and I'll let it stop and wait and see if it just takes back off again, or how it handles the situation. She gets a little bit more nervous and doesn't want to follow through with whatever weird scenario it's doing, right? And I as a tech person really want to test it to its fullest to see how it would execute that. Would it stay stuck there? Would it continue to move forward? And anyway, these things are still small things. They really have no major impact on the safety. Put it back in standard mode. No impact on the safety of the drive of the vehicle. They're all kind of just like decision-making bugs. And same with pretty much every drive. I don't know that there's been a single incident where I've intervened because of anything safety critical in like months. The only thing that I've seen that's safety critical, or not safety critical, the only thing I've seen that has been like disengagements has been navigation issues, where the vehicle wants to take like a weird turn, and I think even version 14.2.2 might have fixed some of those things. But when with the previous versions of 14, there would be like scenarios where it would try to turn into like the driveway before it or the driveway after it, or I even seen a weird scenario where I was supposed to be going left, but the vehicle was in the far right lane and took a right. So I don't know why it was in the far right lane when it was like a 3-lane highway and it needed to take a left. So I don't know. That was really, really strange. But again, it's not a safety critical thing. It went around the block, remapped, and then did the proper thing after it remapped. It's a little bit annoying, but it wasn't a safety critical thing. And some people might like really complain about that, and like maybe it made me late for work. And I'm thinking in the mindset of like Robo taxi, that might have really made me late for work. But if turning around the block and spinning around makes you late for work, then you should probably show up a little bit earlier. But I understand the frustration, because I'm very efficient with my time, and I don't like any time losses. So, with that being said, it is an annoyance. However, even if it's doing stuff like that today, and even if it's doing stuff like that today, like right there, that how the vehicle just swerved around that car right there, that was pretty good. Now there was a car behind me, so it's like kind of swerving, because it's like being over. It's avoiding potholes and stuff like that too much. This area right here that we're on, this road, it actually has like, it's like not very good at all. Like there's like multiple spots where there's like dips and discolored road where they like patched the road and they didn't patch it very well. So it's like avoiding that. And so like right here on this particular road, it kind of swerves in and out. There was a vehicle behind me, which I don't like. That vehicle was so far, or so close to behind me, and we were swerving around trying to avoid potholes, because if that vehicle that was behind me happened to be accelerating forward at a quicker rate, the vehicle may have wanted to travel over into their lane. Now, I don't think the vehicle would have traveled over into their own lane. I think that it would have prioritized like hit the pothole versus come over into another vehicle. But okay, going back to like the robotaxi thing, if they sent the green light and you had these weird turnings and weird driveway things going on, or parking lot things, if they sent it at 50 cents a mile, people would still choose that option, because sure, maybe it makes the wrong turn occasionally, maybe it makes the wrong turn occasionally, but it's not a consistent thing. And the biggest part of that is 50 cents a mile. If you go look at like an Uber ride, like your cheapest Uber ride is probably $1 per mile, but on average, I think it's closer to $2 a mile. So it's at 50 cents a mile, it's a quarter of the cost of what it is for an Uber ride. And I don't know about you, but I can tell you that most people, and even myself, a lot of times will choose a ride platform based on just saving a few dollars. If I'm traveling out of town, and I pretty much always open up Uber and Lyft at the same time to compare, not just price, but also availability. How fast can the vehicle get to me? I might check Uber and it'll be like 15 minutes, 20 minutes till it can get to you. Might check Lyft and it's like, 10 minutes. I'm like, okay, I'll go with Lyft. It's 10 minutes, right? Or maybe they have a very similar drive time, and Lyft is $5 an hour, or $5. The ride is cheaper by $5, or maybe $10. Normally it's not by $10 unless it's like a pretty long ride where it's going to be like a $45 ride. Then it could be as much as $10 difference between the two of them. And just the economics of I don't think economics is the right word. Not classification of people, demographic. Basically, like the earning level that people are at. It goes in tiers, right? Like who's okay to jack off $10, $20, $30, $50, $100, right? There's different tiers. Who cares about saving $5? Who cares about saving $10? Who cares about saving $20? Who cares about saving $50? You know what I mean? There's different tiers of people. But the data is that 80% of people are cost conscious. 80% of people have, or at least 60 to 70% of people have to be cost conscious. They just don't have the budgets in their their income to afford whatever the more expensive option is. Unless there's some other prioritization, like I'm running late and I need to get to work on time, so I need to take whatever the fastest method is, and not the not necessarily the lowest cost method. But just cost alone is going to be a big reason why people are going to make a decision to take one of these, taxi type of vehicles, right? And so Robotaxi and Tesla's Robotaxi network is going to be the most competitive pricing. I think at first, initially, they're not going to be the most competitive pricing. They might even charge a premium at first, or be very competitive at first, and be right in alignment with them to really just a couple things. Why would you do this? One, let's start deploying our Robotaxi and putting it on putting it out there, right? Making it open and accessible to the public. But let's also take it slow, right? So by driving up the cost, they can take it slow, maximize profit margins, and they're maximizing their profit margins while doing a slow and controlled rollout. They need to do that slow and controlled rollout so they can ramp up their operations, okay, and also do even more validation of the vehicle and the vehicle safety. So, as they decide to ramp up more and more vehicles, they'll probably match that price with demand. After Tesla's fleet starts to grow from a couple hundred in a city to a couple thousand in a city to 10,000 in a city. I mean, most cities don't even need 10 robo taxis in them. I think over 98% of cities don't need 10,000 robo taxis in them. They literally only need a few hundred. Now it's your major cities where you need potentially 10,000, like in LA or New York, or these types of cities where you might need that type of number. But it's obviously not going to be hard for Tesla to produce that type of number, because they literally have a printing machine that prints vehicles. I mean, I think they produce 2,000 Model Ys a day, and 2,000 Model Ys a day. I need to fact check that data. I think I might have my numbers mixed up right now, but maybe it's in a week. But point being is they can get to 10,000 vehicles in literally just a couple months, for a city that needs it. And that's not even with them launching the Robotaxi line and the Robotaxi, Cybercab. So Cybercab is separate from Robotaxi. Robotaxi is Robotaxi is the network itself, right? Cybercab is the vehicle that is dedicated for doing ride share only. And we still don't know if those vehicles are going to be owned by Tesla only, or if Tesla will sell those to other business owners to operate, which I think Tesla will have other business owners operate them. I think they want to operate them internally to figure out the operations, to understand what somebody needs to have in order to operate one of these businesses. Maybe you have to invest in one of their cleaning robots. Maybe you have to invest in charging infrastructure. Maybe you have to invest in a warehouse. These different types of things in order to, own one of the Cybercab vehicles. So I don't know. It's just another method that they might have to deploying those different robo-taxis, or Cybercabs, I should say. And also whenever it comes to individual owner operators. They might like let individual owner operators operate just like more freely and not with charge infrastructure and stuff like that. But if you want to do cyber cab, they may want to do that with somebody that's more serious, who wants to operate more as a business with a fleet of vehicles. And they may even want you to have some minimum number of vehicles potentially. I don't necessarily think that's a must, but it's a possibility. Or they could just own them all outright themselves. I just don't think they will, because Tesla is not really a huge like capital expenditure type of company. They don't want to hold that debt, right? Most companies don't want to hold that debt because they're not a bank. That's not their business model. But yeah, FSD's friggin' like just so much better. I mean, it truly is starting to feel like the sentient, where it's, you know, just making human-like decisions, making very intelligent decisions. Ooh, it went way through that yellow light. Holy shit, I like that. My Cybertruck slams on yellow lights all the time, and it's kind of annoying. Like, as soon as the light goes yellow, we gotta stop. I'm like, gosh dang, dude. Because this is a big, heavy vehicle, so it has to stop harder. But yeah, let me know if there's anything in particular you'd like to know. And I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.